Good stuff today. Stephon Diggs, Minnesota Viking wide receiver, stopped by. It was fun. Kenyon Martin, Tony Gonzalez, Alex Smith showing up. Jason Whitlock's actually friends with Alex Smith. And every time I've been critical of Alex, Whitlock's always chewing on me. He's like, he's the greatest guy. And I'm like, oh, I like him too. I just think sometimes in the playoffs he hasn't been as successful, and Whitlock always gets upset. I thought it was interesting. Kenyon Martin was on the show earlier today, and there was that big Blake Griffin trade. And I said, I got nothing against Blake Griffin. There's three guys in the NBA, Blake Griffin, Carmelo, Derrick Rose, I never bought into. I don't think they make teammates better. I think they struggle with, I don't think Carmelo is easy to play with, made anybody better. I don't think he was totally committed. Derrick Rose is a guard that can't shoot. He was fragile, and I don't think he has a real high basketball IQ. And I don't think Blake Griffin has evolved as a player. And so I've never been a huge Blake Griffin guy. I mean, I think he can play. I think in the Eastern Conference he has value because the Eastern Conference is so much weaker than the Western Conference. And I think for Detroit, they get a really, really good athlete. And it'll be a very, very interesting team. But I think the Clippers, I've been told as much this morning and last night. They're just clearing space. They want to get into the sort of the LeBron James derby. But Kenyon Martin was funny. I asked him, because he's played in the Clippers, and I asked him about Blake Griffin, and he wasn't really that impressed playing against Blake through the years.
I'm a defensive guy. I know tendencies. I know things you can do, can't do, so I'm going to force you to do those things. But I could force him to do things that I wanted him to do and take the shots that I wanted him to take, rather than you guarding a guy like, just call it like Tim Duncan or Dirk, where you can prepare for one thing and they can give you a different look. But I could force Blake to do things that I wanted him to do.
That's how Kenyon Martin felt about it. I think Blake, to me, got a little Hollywood. I think his game got a little more finesse. I don't think he put the time in. I find it hard to believe you can be that gifted in all these years can't shoot. I think he's committed enough. I think he's athletically a natural. But I thought when the Clippers signed him to that huge deal, my takeaway was, God, what are you doing? Like, you're not going anywhere. A 6'9", injury-prone guy that doesn't shoot. His mid-range percentage this year is 23%, so he's obviously a great athlete. I'm not knocking him there, and I think he's an asset for Detroit, especially in the East. He's a big athlete and gets up the court, and he can be a very good finisher at the rim. And none of that I'm doubting. But, I think the Clippers are sending a clear message. We are going all in on LeBron. Now, that may be pie-in-the-sky pipe dream stuff. I still think for LeBron it's a three-team race. It's Houston, it's the Lakers, and it's Cleveland. I don't think if you could choose L.A., you choose the Clipper brand over the Laker brand. And Kenyon Martin said as much. I think the Lakers are in the driver's seat. I also find it hard to believe that Magic Johnson knows everybody in the world, and LeBron James knows everybody in basketball, and you're not supposed to talk or tamper, or I find it impossible to believe that Magic Johnson is the most connected person in the game of basketball in America. And I think it's impossible for me to believe that LeBron and Magic's people haven't at least tipped a glass and discussed the possibility of joining forces.
You also got to think about what LeBron is doing on the side. Over the past couple of years, he's been in movies. He's executive producing documentaries now. You know what I mean? He's got all these other projects that would be very beneficial for him to be in LA for.
I think it all adds up to, and Lakers now are on a little bit of a, I don't know, they were losing the other night to Toronto was the last time I was listening on radio. They're playing okay with Lonzo. Lonzo got hurt. Now they're playing pretty well without Lonzo. So they're not a disaster. I mean, they're not a good team, and they don't have any star players, but Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma are three pretty good players. Larry Nance Jr. off the bench, so Jordan Clarkson off the bench, I think could be nice NBA B players. Here's Rachel with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
All right. Josh McDaniels, he is the current Pats offensive coordinator. He is all set to take over at Indianapolis as Colts head coach. As you know, he coached in Denver. That didn't really work out so much, but he was talking at media night about learning from his past. This is what he said.
All right.
I've learned a lot in my career. I mean, whether it's here, my time in Denver and St. Louis, and every step of the way has been invaluable to me. I think there's so many good people and so many good coaches and so many good personnel people that are willing to share what they know and help you along the way. And I've tried to pick up little things here and there from everybody that I've worked for. And sometimes I think failure is the best teacher.
Weren't we just talking about that? What a segue. Failure is the best teacher, similar to being booed. Do you think he's going to find success in Indianapolis?
I mean, listen, of all the jobs, I could argue that Indianapolis has the loopiest owner and the worst talent, and he chose that one. Why? Because of Andrew Luck. Chris Ballard's a good GM. Andrew Luck's a very good quarterback. And barring an Andrew Luck setback, Indianapolis will be a playoff team with Josh McDaniel next year.
All right, moving on. The Eagles have arrived in Minnesota. They've got some time to kill. Chris Maragos, he is calling around, trying to make a reservation for him and his teammates at restaurants and cannot find one. So he thinks that Vikings fans are doing this to him. He tweeted out, "I've called 3 restaurants in Minneapolis to get a reservation for me and my teammates and can't get in. Well played, Minnesota fans." Okay, so thousands of people are going to this city right now.
Right.
But could this be like the best Super Bowl trolling of all time?
I think there's...
It's a stretch, I know, Colin, but just work with me, okay?
No, I mean, Philadelphia fans apparently treated Minnesota fans, according to stories I read, very poorly. And there's been a lot of talk about, like, payback to Philadelphia fans. So this would be classic, dignified Minnesota way to do it. You know, Minnesota, they call it Minnesota.
So shady.
Well,
You're going to go that far?
It's called Minnesota nice. My wife used to have to recruit in Minnesota, and she said it's about as edgy as a boiled egg. It's Minnesota nice. So this is their way of being mean, not giving you a dinner reservation.
They're so close to Canada. We spill over with the niceness.
Yes. I mean, are you Canadian?
I'm Canadian.
Okay, Canadian people are nice.
Yeah, we are. For the most part.
For the
until
most
you get
part,
to know us.
yeah.
And then this last one. Okay, so Super Bowl ads are going up all over the city. They're at the airport. This guy, he had one job. He had one job to get the Super Bowl ad right on the side of a train. Instead, he wrote out "Superb Owl." Superb Owl. Colin, I'm sure you've been to a Super Bowl party, but have you ever been to a Superb Owl party?
That is awesome.
So they've actually run with it. Vikings are having a party called Superb Owl.
That's great.
Ridiculous. You had one job and you blew it.
Good stuff.
And that's it.
Nice job, Rachel. Rachel with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line
Chiefs
News.
quarterback Alex Smith next on the show. Dallas 11 degrees, New York 9 degrees, Minneapolis -2. Winter is in full swing, and your HVAC system is working overtime. If you aren't properly maintaining your filters, you're not only breathing unhealthy air, you just might find yourself with no heat and thousands of dollars in repairs. There's no better way with FilterBuy.com, America's leading provider of HVAC filters. They do it within 24 hours. There's custom options, 600 different sizes, manufactured here in the States. Right now, save 5%. Set up auto delivery, so you never have to think about filters again. Save your time, save your money, breathe better. It's called FilterBuy.com. That's FilterBuy.com. FilterBuy.com. Alex Smith around the corner next.
I sent this email out and we got